Hello, I'm Kunal Shah on behalf of India Fintech Forum. And today with us, we have Mr. Jatin Singh, the co-founder of Skymet, which is India's private weather forecasting company, and GramCover. He has co-founded GramCover, which is India's first comprehensive rural insurance brokerage. So I would like to welcome Mr. Jatin Singh on India Fintech Forum's interview. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, how are you doing today, sir?
Very good. Very good.
So thank you for taking this interview, sir. And so just start with the questions. So prior to starting GramCover, you have worked at ANI and then co-founded Skymet.
Yes.
So could you please talk about your journey from working at ANI to co-founding GramCover?
It's a long journey. I started way back in 2003. And basically, I was a journalist in ANI. And in those days, electronic journalism had picked up, a lot of news channels were there. And, getting hold of weather data was very difficult. IMD was not consumer friendly at all in those days. So I basically started a business in repackaging weather data. And that's how I started. And I founded Skymed, was essentially was a weather forecasting company. Now, although it has become this big big data, weather, energy kind of mix analytics company. But in those days, it was a weather forecasting company. And as I started weather forecasting, I was able to generate revenue. And then I started, I raised money and I needed a place to grow. And then I got some traction in rural insurance because they need somebody to settle claims. And I started putting up sensors. And as I settled more claims, the policy became bigger. Then I decided to start distributing insurance, and that turned into an insurance brokerage. Now this insurance brokerage is growing and doing many things, everything from crop to general to cattle. And now we're also going to start something on revenue insurance. So, that is how, and what you realize is that weather in India and climate is a very different kind of story. It is generally conceived when I started as a urban story, the way it is in the US and Europe. But the narrative, of course, in India, everybody has got educated on this and it has become stronger, is that it is an economic story. I mean, look at this year, in a year in which you have a minus GDP growth rate of minus 14%, and agri is your only, surplus, you're going to create a surplus of 3 to 4%, which is very sought after. And this country lives and dies by the monsoon. Imagine if in a year like this, there was a drought. Then see that, and there is a humanitarian link to this. There's sustenance. The supply of water, basically pulls you through 2 seasons. Not only does it take you through Kharif, it also takes you to Rabi, and all the allied industries that are linked to it. Is your fundamental natural lottery that this country is. And if you can work around it, manage a larger risk on a larger monsoon forecast, manage a small time risk by giving 10 to 15 day forecast to people, try to do insurance, try to do property insurance. Now we've also created a platform in Skymet actually for agri-lending, because we have so much data that is very useful in underwriting crop loans and rural loans.
Yes. So how has your experience with Skymet helped you shaping GramCover or starting?
Immensely. First, that, the narrative, the data is the most important part of insurance. The second thing was I sampled rural India, got this whole understanding of the monsoon and how it works. It helped me build very important relationships, both in government and with insurance companies across the board. A much better understanding of farmer psyche, a much deeper understanding of technologies in this context. So, if it was not for Skymet, there could be no GramCover, basically.
Perfect. So my next question would be, what are the challenges that GramCover is facing during the pandemic to reach to the rural area, as you are mainly focused to the rural insurance?
GramCover is growing very fast. The problem we are facing is logistical, the lockdowns, the movements. So we're not able to acquire as many customers as we can. So that is what the COVID is. From everything from health cover to crop cover to cattle covers it's digital, but still it's like a phygital concept where there's assisted online at this point of time. Movement of our personnel, holding farmer meetings. So a lot of marketing communication gets blocked off. We could have grown even much faster, although we should be able to grow by at least 40% this year. We could have grown 100% had it not been for the COVID lockdown.
So those are great numbers. So but in general, do you think there's a gap or a lack of awareness when it comes to rural insurance in India?
I think there's a lack of awareness when it comes to insurance in India. I mean, urban and rural is even worse when it comes to lack of awareness. Most of the urban insurance is focused around property and health. There is, of course, life insurance that is there. And the market, so there are two side narratives to this. The market is very small. The market potential is very high. But at the same time, there needs to be a lot of innovation in products. The insurance is unlike lending. Lending is a pull product. People are willing to borrow 30% in India and take that kind of risk, but people are not willing to insure themselves. How many people even in urban India actually have beyond their, if people do not have corporate insurance through their medical policies, then why would they, how many people just go and buy insurance, so to speak? And also the insurance policies, how attractive they are, the onboarding, there's also a lack of trust regarding insurance, lack of education, lack of digital education, as well as lack of literal education. People don't understand how many people, I would talk about rural, urban areas as opposed to rural areas can actually go through a policy document and understand what is called an exclusion. So it's a difficult task, and you need many kind of iterations, angles to get people to part with the 35 rupees, 40 rupees, 100 rupees, 500 rupees as premium and actually come back and buy it again and again. So, but there are various hooks, by the way, which you can actually do it. And that's what we're working on.
Yes, sir. So moving on to the next question, what is the new normal at GramCover? And what do you think is going to be the new normal in insurance tech globally?
I think, both, I think fintech or financial sector, the brick and mortar is going to wither away. Okay, you can now do, I think the COVID has demonstrated what was kind of obvious, that automation is in, and you can have a large business with far fewer people. When WhatsApp was bought by Facebook, it had 18 employees. So so your geographic reach and your capacity to do things online, the kind of complex activities that you can now do online, means that you do not need a lot of offline people. I'm not sure if that is a good thing, because that means a lot of value is now going to get concentrated. So I think as fintech grows, there will be actually fewer players, not many players. There'll be consolidation, and whoever scales fastest can get the best deals. So I think that is going to happen.
Also, that
cost of transaction is plummeting.
So I guess you put it all well together. It makes sense, in the bigger picture. It's digital. That's what we are supposed to move towards, and quality of content which you can achieve while you're sitting at a particular location rather be widespread. That makes sense, sir, in a bigger picture. But so moving forward to our last question. So could you please share your advice for young entrepreneurs, especially in the fintech ecosystem during the pandemic, and the young people who are connected to a fintech world? Some advice.
Oh, this is the best. If there was ever a time to found a fintech firm, it is now. India is a large country. We are gifted with a large democracy, with what I would call relatively prosperous. Fintech allows you to do a lot of low-value transactions at a high scale, and we've got a large unorganized sector that is actually becoming organized. So this, over the next, I say 3 to 5 years, is the chance to get in and then capture a space and then grow with it. I mean, in India, you can capture virtual space. You can also capture geographies. India is a country of 1 billion people with multiple languages and cultural contexts. And, if you want to specialize in Karnataka, please go and do that. You don't need to look beyond that. We have states with 100 million population. And especially our South Indian states are relatively prosperous, and where people today are willing to experiment with new things. So I think if there was a time, this is it.
Awesome. So thank you. for your replies. Thank you for your answers. So this was great having you here today. So thank you for taking our time, and thank you on behalf of India Fintech Forum, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. So just off the record, sir, but is the unorganized sector very, was it a competition for the, or moving the rural India's mentality from unorganized, lending or insurance to something that is online now?
You see, we overestimate what is mentality. If it is cheaper, I'll do it. No.
Correct.
If my cost of transaction is lower, then I'll go towards offline or online. If my offline transaction is cheaper, for instance, today I can go to a shop and buy something cheaper than available online. How do I care?
Exactly.
So, see, it is the value prop that, you will educate yourself, get onto Medium if you know the deal there is better.
Exactly.
It's pure survival. So, for example, if my unorganized money market gives me 60%, my organized money market is at, say, 5% per month. Actually, it is 60% for money lender, local money lender. If my organized money market gives me at 23% at a non-collateralized loan, which one will I go for? 23%.
Exactly.
There is the answer.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So thank you for taking out your time, sir. Thank you for joining this interview. It was great talking to you, and it was great having you here, sir.
Thank you.